Welcome back. In this episode, we conquer the complexities of the Platinum Line and unlock some of the rarest metals known to man. It's our most complex build yet. This is Star Technology. Let's get into it. Since the last video, I did some work on the ore processing. The most visible difference here, obviously, is that I've doubled thermal centrifuges and macerators that we have. The ore washer was a little bit quicker than these guys, so it was building up. The other thing is I've switched to using a subnet to move everything around. All of those containers that were on the back here have now gone, which is much, much neater. I'm really happy with the way that it looks. It was a fun solution to come up with. It wasn't ideal. I think the subnet method is much better. We still got the round robin processing happening here. We've got storage drives, and the terminal here has got all the dusts and things that we've been gathering. I moved all of our dusts from downstairs into here, so this is everything we have. But I put the stone dust separately over here because it was taking up a lot of space in the storage drives. Having it all in one super chest made it a lot easier space-wise because we were always going to have a lot of these. So another thing I've done is create a storage monitor over here to monitor how we're going with our naphtha. This shows me the levels of naphtha in the system. I can tell quite quickly if I just come over here how we're going in terms of power. Currently we're running mostly off the naphtha power, I think. This one here is producing 51,000 RF per tick. This one's 20,000 odd. So I think that's more than what the diamonds are producing. I think in the future we'll phase the diamonds out almost entirely. Although what I will do is I'll run this entire refinery setup off of the diamonds because that is very reliable and essentially for free. And that way this will never get unpowered if we are running out of naphtha, because that would be a catastrophe if we ran out of naphtha and couldn't get more naphtha because the power runs that. I think having a more reliable source powering all that, I think that's a smart way to go. Another thing I've done is I've re-enabled these guys. So this was the electric blast furnace that we created a long time ago that was sitting idle for a long time because it only had Canthal coils in here. What I've actually done is hook this into the ME network, even though I said I wasn't going to. These two here are passiving our stainless steel, and these two here are passiving our steel. So we've got criteria here for having 1,000 ingots of steel and 1,000 ingots of stainless steel. So this is on a lot of the time, actually. I should probably upgrade this to a nichrome. I think that would be a bit quicker. I think it's long overdue for us creating the EV energy hatch. We've been in EV for quite a while now, and we haven't done it. One of the things that was holding us back was the extreme voltage coil, which required tungsten steel, but that's not a problem anymore. The other one was MPIC chips. These required an EV cutter, which for some reason I was having trouble creating. So this had something called an ultimate buzzsaw blade, which is another alloy of cobalt, chromium, nickel, and molybdenum. Molybdenum dust, obviously we only got access to that recently, but we've got a large amount of it, so that ultimate wasn't a problem in the end, and for whatever reason, I decided it should go in here, even though it doesn't need to be in the clean room, and I spent all this time building the EV diode as well. I don't know why. I think I misread it and thought it had to be in the clean room, but in either case, I've got an advanced cutter 3 in here now, and we do have EV power. I think that's good because we're going to need it for this one here. I think the SoC wafer... No, okay. That does need to be in the clean room. I'm going to have so many laser engravers. Anyway, getting distracted. The important thing is we have all the parts to make the EV energy hatch. I've even encoded the recipe, so let's request a whole bunch of those. This is going to take a while, isn't it? Should we just put a stack? Let's just go nuts. Got everything to do it. That can just churn away in the background. What kind of stuff we got here? Aluminium wire, neodymium, liquid polyethylene, titanium. Let's kick it off. We do have stocks of a lot of this stuff, so it is actually building a lot of it quite quickly, but it's going to be a while before it even produces one, I think. So let that go in the background. What else can we do while we're waiting for that? Because we're kind of blocked, I guess. So let's talk about these let's work on this, cheapest LV and MV circuits. So we've got the glass lens already. Why do we have the glass lens already? Did I make that, did I? Not in here. Is there one that... Ah, okay, I already encoded that. The SoC wafer. Okay, I get lost sometimes. That oil distilling project really just took it out of me. I was working on that for so long. So we should be able to request some of these then. So let's just make, 4 of those. Now, I don't think I've got the SoC chip encoded. I do. What am I doing? Why haven't I made these? There's recipes here in the EV circuit assembler. Do we have an EV circuit assembler? No, we don't. Okay, so that's something we've got to build. So that's blocking us from going any further on that. But we do have these 2 LV circuits, and the MV circuits we can't do because there'd need to be an IV. What's involved? I think I already know before I even ask this question. So what's involved with a circuit assembler that's EV tier? I'm pretty sure. Yeah, okay. It's got the EV emitter. We've got all this other stuff. We've got IV circuits even. Is that not too hard? EV emitter. Everything except the quantum eye. Quantum eye, okay. So eye's a vendor we can make. But we don't have any radon. So that's going to be a problem. Looks like we're distilling liquid ender air, which we don't even have yet. Don't even have ender air. How do you make that? End agglomeratio with nether air. And to make nether air, you need nether agglomeratio and air? Okay, this is getting complicated. Oh, okay. Oh, well, I guess we're doing this then, aren't we? Is that a prerequisite there? No. Okay, so we've got the large chemical reactor. This is where we're supposed to go next, the end stone. So what's involved with that? How do you make end stone? A large chemical reactor with glowstone and lava. Got a bit of lava. Don't have heaps. We've got a fair bit to do anything here before we can do this cheapest LV circuits. All right. Oh, that's not what I planned to do for today. This is a lot bigger than what I thought. How are we going with the energy hatches? Oh, we've got 12 of them. Okay. Well, I think we'll park this whole thing and come back to it. Because I'm not prepared for this at all. I thought, okay, maybe I can get a quick win and get some cheap LV and MV circuits. That doesn't look like it's going to happen because this whole process here, it's a lot. I do need to do all this though. But radon, xenon, krypton, yeah, okay. I've only just done all the distillation, but I have to do some more. Okay, it is good to know. I think what I'm going to need to do is build 3 more distilleries, aren't I? There's 3 more distillation towers. 1 for liquid air, liquid nether air, and then liquid ender air. So I wonder where those can go. Let's have a quick look. So I've got my towers over here. This is all oil distillation. Where would I put the nether air stuff? Because they're going to be perhaps not that tall, but tall. I could stick it out this way, I guess. Or behind it. Have another lot. This could be the distillation area. Yeah, that makes sense. All right, well, yeah. I guess I'm going to have to extend this out this way. And then, yeah, okay. That's a project for another time. I've got the energy hatch. Let's tick that off. So now that I have the EV energy hatches, I've got everything I need to tackle the Plat Line. So what is the Plat Line? Plat Line is short for platinum line. So essentially it's this section here. So starting with something called platinum group sludge, we can extract from that a whole bunch of useful elements. So platinum, palladium, ruthenium, rhodium, iridium, and osmium. We're going to need all these for future, like IV and all kinds of stuff like that. The way the Plat Line works is you start with platinum group sludge and then go through a series of increasing complexity steps to extract the various elements out. Platinum itself is pretty easy. We did that a little while ago. We did this by hand just to create some platinum to make the HV diode, I think. The one that we needed for the clean room, which, as it turns out, I don't think I even needed. But anyway, we created it and it was a fun little project just to create that one piece of platinum. But now that we're going to industrialize that process and make it passive. Start with something called platinum group sludge, which is made by just purifying some ore. There's various ones that we can use. The best one to use is sheldonite ore because it produces 4. All the rest produce 2. We've got loads of purified sheldonite ore. I set that up in the ore processing, so that's ready to go. I've got like 4,000 or so of that. Once you have the platinum group sludge, you centrifuge that and you get all these different things out of it. raw platinum powder, raw palladium powder, inert metal mixture, rarest metal mixture, and platinum sludge residue. So all 4 of these are increasing complexity to process or refine. So the raw platinum powder is pretty easy. You just run it through an electrolyzer, I think. Yeah, and so you just get platinum dust out. Easy. But by the time you get to the last one, rarest metal mixture, you actually have to run that through several processes. You process the rarest metal mixture in an IV chemical reactor to get iridium metal residue and acidic osmium solution. And each of those has its own steps that are quite complicated. So iridium metal needs to be centrifuged to get iridium chloride, and then you work on that, chemical react that to get iridium. So the first step is easy. The last steps are multi-step. So what I've created here is the scaffolding for everything that we'll need to make everything in the Plat Line. So we'll start here with the large chemical reactor, which will create the platinum group sludge. From there, it kind of jumps around a bit because of the power kind of concerns. So some of this is running off EV power, some is running off HV power. I'll go through it one step at a time, and yeah, we'll build it out. But we'll start here. We needed the EV energy hatch because one of the steps requires IV power, this one here. So to process the rarest metal mixture, we need an IV large chemical reactor. So we'll use the 2 energy hatches to overclock this large chemical reactor. Some of them are really slow, some of them are really fast. So we don't need everything to be at EV power. That's why some of these are just HV. There's loads of parts for this. Took a little while to gather the components for it, but I've placed them in this chest here. So there's an advanced electrolyzer that will be multi-blocked. There's 2 advanced centrifuges, which will be multi-blocked as well. There's 7 different chemical reactors of various different tiers. So there's going to be some HV ones, some EV ones, and an IV one. Then there's an advanced distillery and an advanced mixer, which are both just single block machines because we don't need them to be multi-block. And then, yes, storage drives because I wanted to create a subnet just to manage all the stuff that's moving around in here. That's it. So I've got to grab all those parts and then get started. I've got everything in my backpack here. This is something that I've only just started to use, well, right now. I hadn't bothered with the backpack up until this point, but I've realized that all the stuff I've got to do for this build, having it all together and seems like a logical thing. So I've just set up a keybind to open that directly, which is pretty handy. So we're going to start with a large chemical reactor. This is going to be creating the platinum group sludge. Platinum group sludge is made in a large chemical reactor from, in this case, purified sheldonite ore and nitric acid. All right, let's get started. Energy hatch down, put in some casings. Large chemical reactor, auto maintenance hatch, PTFE pipe casing, input bus, input hatch, output bus, output hatch, copper nickel coil, and then just fill it in. Hook up some power. Done. And then let's configure this. So platinum group sludge, we are going to want some nitric acid and some of that sheldonite ore. Let's get that happening. The nitric acid, sheldonite ore. Okay, so they will both come from the other network. So let's hook that up now. It's gonna be interesting actually, how am I gonna not mix the cables up? We'll see how that works. All right, that should start up. There we go. And that was very quick. Oh, wow. Yeah, okay, so yeah, you can see I don't need an EV one for this. In fact, HV is overkill because that produced huge amounts of this stuff. So the 2 outputs that we've produced, the platinum group sludge and a side byproduct is the sulfuric nickel solution. We are going to need a way of processing that. Sulfuric nickel solution is here. To deal with that, we just need to run it through an electrolyzer, which produces nickel, oxygen gas, and sulfuric acid. We can recycle all those. So I guess that's the next step that we should do. So we have over here an EV electrolyzer that will be responsible for that. There's a few different things that it will also do. Some of these steps here require things to be electrolyzed. So I thought I'll try and use the same one, make an EV one so it's nice and fast. And so it can handle the platinum chloride, rhodium sulfate, and the ammonium chloride as well. But first of all, we need to get it working with the sulfuric nickel solution. So let's build an EV electrolyzer. Start with the energy hatch. Our first usage of the EV one, which is kind of cool. Gonna need some of this casing. The multi-block itself, auto maintenance hatch, input bus, input hatch, output bus, output hatch, and then just fill it in. Done. Let's set up a couple of interfaces here. So the sulfuric nickel solution. Okay. What I'll do is I'll just hook this all up into like a little ME network and come back. I've created a little subnetwork here using the drive and the interface, etc. So that's hooked up. It's currently storing just the platinum group sludge. That's already started to work. I've got two separate covered cables here, so they won't actually join, which is useful in this little confined area. So I've got the electrolyzer. It's already set up to have the sulfuric nickel solution in here. Why is this not working? We need two outputs. Let's put a second one in. Not balanced, but I will. Okay, so that fired up very quickly, produced sulfuric acid and oxygen gas and nickel dust. So now we need to import these back into the rest of our system. So I might have to run a cable all the way from over there. And the oxygen gas and the sulfuric acid can go in the main network. I'll set that up and come back. So I've got the electrolyzer hooked up, two different networks hooked up here. So the blue one is our main network and the white one is our ore processing subnet. This white one here is actually a different subnet again. I'm going to have to find some more colors. I will figure that out once I've got more colored dyes. But for the moment, I'm just going to have to be careful. But that's the first two steps done. So we've got stuff coming out of there and we've got it being electrolyzed, recycle it. So this is now running continuously or as near to as it can. So what we have here is this platinum group sludge building up and there's a lot of it. Yeah, this is a very fast process. So we may even hook up an emitter just to tell it to stop because it's a bit crazy. Yeah, let's do that. All right, so let's do that. Let's just shut down if it's 1,000. That's plenty. And then what color cable are we using here? White. Put that on. Right, so that's now shut down. So once you have the platinum group sludge, we need to react that, or actually no, we need to centrifuge it with some aqua regia. So we need to make aqua regia first, and that's just nitric acid and hydrochloric acid. So we're going to need a centrifuge here. So that would be, from the looks of it, an EV centrifuge and then a mixer. So let's set up the mixer first. So this will need to import the two different acids to create aqua regia. Set up an interface on here, nitric acid and hydrochloric. And because they're both liquids, we can use one single pump, bring them in, import there. Hook this up with some cable. All right, there we go. All right, that's very quick. But it, for some reason, is moving the aqua regia somewhere else. We do not want that. Why is it doing that? Okay, that's better. Sometimes it does that. It just decides, oh, I'm just going to output automatically into a direction that it hasn't been set up to do. Maybe because of that pump. Maybe it just overrides it somehow. Maybe it's a bug or something. But anyway, I found that picking it up, putting it back down fixes it. Put an interface on here. And then we're going to need one of these white cables to hook it up. But yeah, okay, let's worry about that once we've built the centrifuge. Silence that. So start with the energy hatch. Casings down. Down the multi-block. Maintenance hatch. An input hatch here. Bus here. And then an output hatch and an output bus. I don't know if we'll need the output hatch, but it's there anyway. Let's fill in the block. Hook up some power. Done. Now we need the platinum group sludge in the top one and then the aqua regia in the bottom one. In fact, let's just use a pipe for that. It's going just that short distance. It might make sense, I think. Do that. That. Okay. That's nice and easy because this is the only machine that's ever going to use the aqua regia in this process. That makes sense not to worry about using an interface there. Let's put an interface on here and then we need to hook it into this network here. Platinum group sludge. Okay. Why is that not working already? The output bus is too small because we're going to have more than 4 outputs. So we need an MV output bus. Always something that interrupts the flow. There we go. That's fired up. So it's taking 6 seconds, and after 6 seconds, it produces that output. So that's good. That's progress. It's a good step. Let's just silence this. All right, so let's import that into the network. Interface on there, and then put into this network. That should now be coming into here, which it is. Nice, look at that. All right, so the next step would be this guy here, the raw platinum powder. So that can actually, the process for that is to work it through here. So we can do that quite simply by setting a filter here. And that's already kicked off and is working. That would be getting platinum, and it's actually storing it in the main system. So we should see all that disappear, which it has. So we're now making platinum. How do we start ticking some of these things off? We've got that. Palladium is the next step, isn't it? So the next part is to take the raw palladium powder, react it in a large chemical reactor with some hydrochloric acid, and that produces palladium dust and ammonium chloride. The ammonium chloride we will run through the electrolyzer, and the palladium we will store. We all know how to do this by now, don't we? We need hydrochloric acid and palladium powder. So this will be the hydrochloric acid, and this will be the palladium powder. So the palladium powder it will get from that network. So we can hook that up like this. And the hydrochloric acid will have to get from the main network. So that's doing its job. And now it's making palladium dust and ammonium chloride. Let's silence the machine. All right, so that's processed all the palladium already. So what are we waiting on? This machine here is taking 6 seconds. This is the slow part. This is an EV centrifuge. Unfortunately, I can't overclock it, but I guess we'll just have to deal with that speed. So that's 2 of the steps done. Take that off. Other stuff in here, platinum sludge residue. Take that off. Take that off. We've got 4 of the machines down already, which is pretty good. That's the inert metal mixture, so that's what we need to do next. It's another large chemical reactor. This is what this looks like. Inert metal mixture, sulfuric acid, ruthenium tetroxide, and then those things. With an EV chemical reactor. So this is going to be slow, but I think we can overclock this one. I don't think I planned to overclock this one, so let's not, and we can always come back to it. All right, let's get to building. Inert metal mixture. And then there we're going to need sulfuric acid, I think it was. Lots of acids involved in this. I was smarter with this design. I would have put them side by side instead of one above the other. So I don't have to do this little dance with the cables everywhere. Okay, that's kicked off. Very slow 23 seconds. And we should see some outputs here. We will be getting rhodium sulfate and ruthenium tetroxide, and the hydrogen gas is going to be annoying because we don't want to really do much with that. We've got loads of hydrogen interfaces. All right. There's the ruthenium tetroxide, and the 2 gases have nowhere to go because I deliberately didn't put any storage in. Got the rhodium sulfate and the hydrogen gas. We're going to have to deal with the hydrogen gas. I'll have to think about what I do there. But the rhodium sulfate, I wonder if that's one of the electrolyzer ones. Yes, it is. Okay, so that's pretty easy. I'm going to make some sulfur trioxide and oxygen. So I just need to make another input here. This won't go anywhere because it won't go from interface to interface. I need to change these to be storage buses, which is probably what I should have done originally anyway. But that's cool. We make mistakes. Allowed to make mistakes as long as you learn from them. So let's get rid of these. Doing something, that might have been it. Oh, hang on. It'd be in the main network. So we should see, there we go. Rhodium dust. Not very quick, but we're getting some. All right. Well, we've built half the machines we're going to need, but now I'm going to take a little break. Back later. I've just been doing a little bit of tweaking, I guess, of a few things. I've introduced this new color cable. So anything that needs to go straight into the OR subnet, I'll hook up with this red cable. Makes it a little bit easier to tell what's going on. So you can see that any outputs from the electrolyzer is going into the OR subnet. Blue is the main net and white is just this local net that we're using here. We need to take care of the ammonium chloride because that's not currently being worked on, and that can be electrolyzed into ammonia and hydrochloric acid. So we need to set up a filter here. There we go. Ammonium chloride. Wow, that's quick. There's not much to say. It's all gone already. The ruthenium tetroxide is the next thing we need to deal with, which we'll use a large chemical reactor and react it with carbon, which forms ruthenium and carbon dioxide. Looks like I was imagining this would be a HV1 because it's not that time sensitive. All right, let's get to it. Nice and easy. Good to go. All right, so we're going to need two interfaces. One of these will be carbon. And the other will be the tetroxide. The ruthenium will come from the white network. So let's hook that up. And now we just need carbon imported from the blue network. There it goes. That's nice and quick. And so we're making the ruthenium and carbon dioxide. The ruthenium we want to import into the red network. Glad I switched to these colored cables. It makes it so much easier to see what you're doing. And also it stops them from joining where they shouldn't. I think I need some interfaces on there. What do you think? Done. All right, we are almost there. There's only two more to do. So the only thing left in here, I think, is the rarest metal mixture. All right, so what's the rarest metal mixture? How do we work on that? This one's in an IV chemical reactor. It's not very quick. 7 of them plus hydrochloric acid makes 2 of those. Let's build. We need 2 of those energy hatches. Should be IV, which it is. Interfaces. And this one will have the rarest metal mixture. Hydrochloric acid. Okay. The hydrochloric acid will come from mainnet. And the other mixture will come from the white network. Okay, should kick off. There we go. That's nice and slow. Uses a lot of power as well. We'll see how we go with our energy for that. So the output, we're going to have iridium metal residue and acidic osmium and hydrogen gas can all go into the same network. The powder should go into here. Is that one, iridium metal residue. And we've got the acidic osmium solution and the hydrogen gas. Now I've set up an importer, or rather an exporter of the hydrogen gas, so that's already leaving the system. I've just got an export thing for hydrogen, it's putting it into the main network. Now we need to deal with those 2 outputs. So we've got the acidic osmium solution and the iridium metal. So what's the iridium metal entail? Centrifuge. Actually, we'll come back to that because that's actually reused for the platinum sludge residue. So we'll do them at the same time. But for now, I guess we'll do the acidic osmium solution. So this actually requires a distillery. This is like the unusual thing of this, but it creates osmium tetraoxide. That's in technically the wrong spot, isn't it? I guess it should be on this side over here. It's all right. Bear with me for a sec. All right, so now we need a distillery. We have a choice here. So we can either make hydrochloric acid or water as the byproduct. We don't want water, so we'll make hydrochloric acid, and we need program circuit 1. Import the acidic osmium solution. Place a pump in there and get that to import. We need 2 outputs. I think we can do it with 1 interface, can't we? If we do interface on the top, and tell both of these to output. Because both of them will need to be processed some more. Although the hydrochloric acid would be better if it goes into mainnet. Change my mind. Fluid out on the side. Another interface. White network for this one. In fact, for both of these. So that should kick off. There we go. Rather abruptly. Let's make that a bit quieter. Okay, well that's just firing off and doing its thing. We should see the osmium stuff in here. Osmium tetraoxide. Perfect. Right, so the next step is to work on that osmium tetraoxide. So that's just a chemical reactor reacting with some hydrogen, making osmium dust and water. Let's build. So this is going to need hydrogen from the main network, osmium from the white network. This output bus, this will be the red network. This would actually work better if we do this, because that is main network. And so that's going to be the hydrogen that we import. And then that just needs to be the other osmium stuff. This is not working. Why? Did I forget to add power? I did. Going at too quick a pace. Already processed that. I'm guessing this is full. Yeah. Okay, so we need to do something with that water. I guess we could just vent it. Put a cover on there and just tell it not to do anything. Because we don't need water. We've got infinite sources of water. Let's do that. Put a fluid voiding cover on that. See if that works. Because there's only one fluid that will ever come out of that process, which is water, I don't think it matters. And say on. There we go. So it's apparently just spilling water everywhere. Not that you can see it, but we don't need to deal with that water now, which is great. Diamond hammer on that. And that is one more thing that we can tick off. And now that just leaves us one last few steps. Iridium metal residue goes to iridium chloride, goes to iridium dust. We should already have some of that iridium metal residue, which we do. So how do we process that? In a centrifuge. Okay, make a centrifuge. Interface on this. We'll be dealing with two things here. Iridium metal residue, but also the platinum group sludge residue. An interface to get this stuff out of here. Both of the things need to be processed further within this same network, so we can use the white cable. Okay, so none of that's working yet. Why is that? Is it because it doesn't know which one to do? Or did I forget to hook up power again? No? Okay, that's interesting. I'm not sure why that's not working. Oh, wait a second. Ah, I've killed my power. This doesn't have any power either. Ah, okay. Alright, so I had a small power issue. Wasn't that big a deal, so it seems to be sorted now. But now the iridium metal residue and the platinum sludge residue are being processed in here, producing various outputs like iridium chloride and platinum sludge residue, which is then going back in. So the platinum sludge residue is going down, which is great. And we're getting gold and silicon dioxide building up in here, which is not exactly what we want. But I guess it can be in the system. It'd be better if it was imported, but there's no way to separate these currently, unless I used another centrifuge, which I don't want to do right now. And so the last step is to make iridium dust. How do we make iridium dust from iridium chloride? Probably just electrolyzing it, I guess. No, chemical reactor with hydrogen makes iridium and hydrochloric acid. So that would be what this guy is. Cool. All right, let's build. Now, do we hook up power for that? No, we didn't. That's cooking very quick. Iridium and hydrochloric acid. So the iridium will import into the red. Need to go up, over. That's that. And we should be able to find the iridium over here, which we have. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the end of the Plat Line. So we have completed the whole thing. Amazing. All right. In here, we should notice things like iridium. We should have osmium. We should have palladium. Yeah, okay, excellent. So now I guess the thing would be to make sure that there's no bottlenecks, but I think that will be something I do between videos because this has gone long enough and there's plenty of other things I need to get to. There's a lot that needs to get done. Yeah, I think we'll wrap it up there. Pretty happy that I got the Plat Line working. There's quite a lot of parts to get that happening, as you can see behind me. Switching to those multicolored cables I think was really a good idea. In the next episode, I think we're gonna have to get back into some distillation again. I thought I'd put that to bed for a little while, but obviously it's come back to bite me again. I've realized there's actually 2 different sets of distillation I need to do. Thanks for watching and supporting the channel. I really appreciate it. And if you like this content, then please subscribe and I'll see you in the next episode. Cheers.